Welcome back everybody to another MOTOBOB video where today we've just had the announcement of the new Multistrada V4 Pikes Peak from Ducati. Now they've done a Pikes Peak version before and the idea is to take the Multi and make it more road focused and sporty. I've already ridden and reviewed the new V4S and I thought it was pretty incredible on the road, so with loads of upgrades and tweaks, this one should be absolutely nuts. So in this video we'll go over all of the changes they've made with 10 things you need to know about it. First up, the paint job. Now they say that it's inspired by their Desmo Sedici GP21 MotoGP scheme, so we've got some graphical blocks at the leading edge of the radiator cowl, as well as some big #1 number boards on the sides. I'm definitely getting a strong flashback of that Panigale they did to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the 916, and I quite like it here too, but let me know what you think of it down in the comments. On top of the paint, you get some nice finishing items like a carbon beak, carbon mudguard, a new seat covering with a red block at the back bearing the V4 name, the Akropovich titanium and carbon exhaust option, and gold anodized legs on the O-Lins fork rather than the black or grey on the other Multi V4s. So all in all, a cut above in terms of finish. But it's not just visual stuff, they've sought to improve the handling as well with a few choice upgrades. Firstly, the suspension with the Marzocchi fork and shock of the V4S swapped out for some top spec O-Lins. Now it's semi-active, so it's electronically adjustable and then it responds to your riding style and the road conditions, but it's the same with the Marzocchi on the V4S as well. But the O-Lins is a cut above in terms of specs, so you'd still expect a sportier response and handling from this Pikes Peak version. Now the wheels also get a big boost with a set of Marcassini forged aluminium beauties that drop 2.7 kilograms over the wheels on the Multi V4S. In fact, there's 4 kilograms dropped across the whole bike, which isn't to be sniffed at, but the weight of the wheel is the most meaningful, with it being unsprung mass, so it should help to improve suspension response, but also its rotating mass, so they should change direction quicker as well. And as well as being lighter, they've also swapped the 19-inch front of the rest of the Multi V4 lineup for a more road-focused 17-incher like any other road bike. The 19 on the others is a bit of a compromise between on-road and off-road, and it does give it more of that adventure bike look, whereas this gives it more of a big supermoto vibe. You definitely feel it in the handling as well, it ought to feel sharper and less vague. Now the tyre choice is going to help too. The standard bikes get Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2s, which Pirelli describe as capable of tackling long journeys and excursions with light off-road stretches, so a bit of an all-rounder adventure tourer tyre. The Pikes Peak gets the completely road-biased Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4s, which Pirelli say are super sport tyres for the road. They're new for this year, so I haven't ridden them yet, but I've had plenty of bikes with the Diablo Rosso 3s, and I've always found them to be pretty awesome for quicker riding. Tyre sizes have changed a little too, so of course the front is now a 17 to match the rim, but also the rear's fatter 190mm to the 170 of the other bikes. So again, more sport biased, and it'll give it a beefier look at the back too, and everyone loves a massive fat tyre at the back. Now, although it's still largely the same aluminium frame, they have tweaked the head angle, 25.75 compared to 24.5, and trail and wheelbase have changed too. In the press release, they say that the geometry has been recalibrated according to the different uses of the motorcycle, which is a bit vague, but I guess they're just saying they've tuned it specifically for this setup with the new equipment. And look, I guess Ducati know what they're doing. Another big change is the swing arm. Now, the original Multistrada and the iterations that followed were all single-sided, and it was a bit of an iconic look, not just for the Multistrada but generally Ducatis. Then you had the Multistrada 1260 Enduro with its spoke wheels, and as such they used a dual-sided swing arm. And that was the rationale for the Multi V4 as well, to interchange with their spoke wheels as an accessory for off-road use. I mean, you can do single-sided spoke wheels like the GS, but Ducati seem to be sticking with the dual-sided. But on the Pikes Peak, no spoked wheel option, which means they can go back to the single-sider. Now you could argue that it's easier to swap tyres, so if you're doing loads of track work, then maybe that's an advantage, but realistically, come on, it's for the looks. It's got more in common now visually with the Panigale and Street Fighter, and with those fancy wheels, you probably want to show them off a bit, so personally, I like it. Now the ergonomics also got a tweak, with the pegs being moved up and back and the bars being made narrower and lower. Seat height is the same, so adjustable between 840mm and 860, and so essentially the riding position pivots forward from the saddle so the rider is in more of a sporty tuck. But still, you can see how low the rider's elbows are in the press footage, and then a reach up to the bars, so it's still very much an adventure bike, but just with a sporty tweak. And with the higher pegs, you do get more ground clearance, so that's going to give you more lean angle, and that's going to be much appreciated if you did take it to the track. Now they've also taken away a bit of the wind protection. The screen is lower, it's also smoked to give it a bit of a sporty look, I guess. I guess they're going for more of that visceral, naked feel with the wind blast, but honestly it's got me thinking you may as well just go for a Street Fighter V4, because you're starting to lose some of the benefits and versatility of an adventure bike. I guess if you're super tall and you find the Street Fighter too cramped, this might make sense as a good option, but of course I'm always open to having my mind changed by riding one. Onto the electronics, and there's quite a lot to go at here. The most aggressive high engine map is now even more sporty. There's a race riding mode for the first time on the Multistrada, which really dials back the rider aids. There's wheelie control from the Panigale, recalibrated cornering ABS. They've changed the rev limiter, the quick shifter makes quicker quick shifts and allows for more aggressive downshifts. And this is all on top of the already comprehensive suite of lean sensitive rider aids, adaptive cruise control, TFT dash with phone connectivity that you already get on the V4S. So the price, £24,595. That's £1,600 more than the previous range topper, the V4S Sport. Is it worth it? Well, on the one hand, you do just get the same 170 horsepower, 125 Nm of peak torque from the Gran Turismo V4 engine. The brakes are the same with the Brembo style emmers, and a lot of the chassis and bodywork and tech, you know, a lot of it's the same. But if you're really keen on that mega supermoto feel, if you're certain that you don't want to off-road it, and if you might even do some track work, then you could argue with the Olin suspension, the better tyres for it, revised geometry, lightweight wheels, and the more appropriate wheel sizes, it does start to look pretty good. But as always, I'd love to know what you make of it down in the comments below. This, or just get a Street Fighter. And if you want to watch my Multi V4S review, if you haven't seen it already, then just click here.